Good evening, Young Kings. Time for your evening motivation. Decided to switch it up today and run in the evening. My schedule over the last few weeks been going through this conference and having to be to work a little earlier. Plus, for those who were on the early bird and seen my last video, Arrested Development, shit is real and really going on. So things are happening at a fast pace, and I had to change some things up in order to continue to navigate through this process. They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So, some things I'm going to have to assess and see if it's still beneficial for me to do it that way. So, as I mentioned, just ran 3 miles this evening, and I realized I like running in the morning better than the evening. In winter, I'm going to work out my winter routine as the seasons start to change, as the season is starting to change. So, but in the morning, it seems like it becomes therapeutic, although this was very therapeutic as well, getting out there and exercising. But there are more people on the track um, in the evenings. In the morning, I get up pretty early, or get out there about 5, so it's normally just me out there. Or if I run the block, run the streets, there's not a lot of people in my way. So, not to say that they're in my way, but they're going through their journey, their exercises, and doing things. And people want to speak and say different things. So, and I'm just there to get my exercise and keep going on. So, um, I want to get into a few things on this video. First of all, for those who may be new to viewing this channel and only seen a couple videos or my last video, um, they may not be aware of what I'm doing on this journey. To be transparent, like when I started this page and this channel, my vision was for me to be authentic and to take you through the journey that I was going to go through in life. I didn't plan this shit out. This shit just happened. I wouldn't have wrote this shit out for me. But the reality of it is, it's like I chose not to hide it. And I did take down my last video, and it's not because I'm ashamed of it or that the things in there were not accurate from my perspective and what I observed. The reason I took it down because I think it served its purpose for my therapeutic. Like, this is therapeutic. This is part of my recovery phase in life, is for me to journal how I'm feeling, when I'm feeling it, unadulterated, um, and just put my thoughts out there. Just press record. And as I mentioned at the conception of these videos when I started a few months back, that everything I say is true to how I feel. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat things. I'm not gonna try to edit things, so you won't see splices in the video while I restart. It's like it's the first take, and it's what's on my mind. So that Arrested Development was fresh out of jail. For those who were unaware, that Sunday evening I was incarcerated, and I had to sit down in a 6 by 10, whatever they call that thing, for some misunderstandings that happened in my home. No domestic violence, but I did tear up a lot of things. So even in that, I recognize that that was beyond what needed to be done, and I need to get some things under control. But I want to go through that process with you all because it was a destructive one. And some of you may be watching my videos that we transition from motivational to you airing your problems in life, or you going through this, or are you okay, or is everything all right? And I would answer and say, we're right on course. This is how life happens. I don't know if you've seen 2 videos ago, 3 videos ago, I was talking about dreams. If you have a small dream, you can shape it. If you have a big dream, it's going to shape you. So the thing about dreams and about goals is that there's an element of reality that sets in when you start to pursue it. Soon as you start to say that you got a direction that you want to go in life, life is going to come at you and punch you in the face and see if you really want to get there or not. It's not a smooth road. It's not easy. And that's why I keep saying in a lot of these videos, it's like I see why a lot of people don't do this work is because it's hard. There's a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of setback and things that happen along the way that you don't plan for, that you weren't calculating as being a part of your journey. So when it hits you, you start to think like, man, soon as I say I want to do something, it seems like all hell breaks loose. Soon as I say I want to go on a diet, they bring donuts into the office, and that's how the shit works. As soon as you say you want to stop drinking, I'm not doing that. So have a drink on there. But as soon as you say I'm not drinking no more, everybody want to buy you a drink. Everybody want to come give you a gift with alcohol or something in there. As soon as you say I want to do A, B, and C, the world is going to bring something to you that's going to be a contradiction of what you say you're going to do versus what you're actually going to do, and that ought to give you an indication that you got a significant dream. So what I'm going through in life is just another manifestation of like, hey, I'm on the right track. You made some bad decisions along the way, and it's telling me I got to get some more tools in my tool bag to equip me to do those things. But set your goals on something, and you're going to realize like life is going to see how bad you want it. That's why they say only 5% of the population that are doing what they actually want to do. The rest of them are doing what they have to do. They're just going through the motion because they don't understand the concept of fighting through adversity, and they think, hey, woe is me. And that arrested development, and what I found out that led to those events, that's not an excuse for what my behavior was. But at the same time, it's a point of reality of where I am right now in life. Um, my heart is broke. I mean, for me to sit and say that that shit didn't bother me to a point, it still does. I mean, you got to realize, like, I've been with my spouse since high school. I told the woman in 11th grade I was going to marry her. I'm 45 years old. I've been married to this woman 25 years. So do the math. At 20 years old, I married her. I got engaged to her at 19. One of my first checks in basic training was to go buy an engagement ring. So at 45 years old and have been with this woman about 27, 28 years, I've been with her longer than I've been without. So if you think that some information or some trouble in this relationship or our relationship dissolving is not going to hurt, it is not going to have pain, that's a lie from the pit of hell. That shit hurt. This shit sucks. But at the same time, it's like it's a part of the process. I am I'm directly responsible for the condition I am in my life, meaning that um, I highlighted some things on there, but I cheated several times over, um, and I'm embarrassed by it, meaning that, and I will tell you, young king sis, there's a saying that says, "Don't plant seeds that you don't want to grow and eat the fruit of." Like I planted some seeds of destruction in my relationship. So throughout the course of that 25 years, um, I could sit and say that mine was different, but the reality of it is, whatever the justification is, when you justify, it ends up being just a lie. So there's an element of me owning up and having the maturity to understand that these are some things that are the consequences of my decisions. So I have goals, I have dreams, and I think that I will overcome. Um, am I hurt? Will it take me a while? Yeah, I got to get in. I got to get in the lab and do some definitely healing. But it's not to a point of where I'm down and out. I'm okay. I mean, I'm sleeping good at night now that I'm not in that jail cell. So I'm not laying up at night. I mean, I'll be honest, I miss her like hell. I wish I could hear her voice. Um, and I was talking to a friend on the phone. He got a call. His wife had got a call from my wife telling, what happened. And he's calling to make sure, I'm okay and all this and ask me what's going on. And we going through this deductive reason. He think he's motivating me and whatever. And I'm open, to hear. And he was like, man, you only want her because of your ego. That's why you want to stay in this relationship, is because of your ego. And after listening to him for a while, you gotta let people talk. And um, I had to correct him. I says, this is not an ego trip. Do you know what this shit is doing to my ego? You know, do you understand what this is doing to my pride? If I was on an ego trip, this wouldn't be the route that I would choose to go. I mean, and I said the route that I choose to go. I'll be 100% accurate with you, and you can call me a simp, you can call me whatever. If she called me right now and say, "Hey, that dude broke my heart. He ain't shit. I want to work it out with you," I'm gonna work it out. I mean, I've been with this woman all my whole life, um, and that's a destructive pattern in itself. So I know I got to get some healing and set some standards. But I'm being real. I'm gonna be transparent with her. I'm not gonna say, "Hey, fuck that," you didn't went out there and you didn't found this and that. And that's, people will try to play like they're harder than what they actually are. And what I realized by the people who talk tough, they're really not that tough. Um, the ones that give you all the advice have very little information to assess themselves and do what they are. And I know that because I do a lot of time inside my head, running, and those who know me understand how abstract my thoughts are. It's not normal. I'm abnormal inside. So I do the mental work to understand some things. And there's a saying that says the people who know it all don't know it all. So I got to be careful during this season of being vulnerable, because I'm extremely vulnerable during this time. And is my pride and stuff hurt? Yeah, but if I want to really feed my pride, and I mean, my pride is crying out for some attention. It's crying out. So, I mean, I could be destructive and go out and find a young girlfriend or something like that. And man, I tell you what, it seems so tempting, but, and to feed the pride. And it's like, man, that is my weakness too. So it's like, during this season, what do I do? I made a decision when I started these videos to be authentic and to dive into the deep, and not to get through something and then reflect back and look upon it. But I decided to take you through the journey. Like when I went to jail Sunday, the first call before I actually went to jail, I called my supervisor. I called Fulbert Colonel, and I called him. I said, "Hey, sir, I ain't gonna be at work in the morning. I gotta go sit in jail for a night." And he said, "Hey, is everything all right?" And told him everything was all right, and that I'll get situated and get back. And he made a statement. He was like, "Hey, we're just going to keep this between me and you. We don't have to let this out or whatever." I said, "No, sir. I'm going to own this, and we'll get through this. I'll get through this." So, long story short, we ended up calling, after I got out, calling the chief of staff, and they tagged the general and let him know that, and I sent them another email follow up and explained to them what had happened, and then what I was doing as a result of that happening. Now, wisdom would have said, "Hey, let's conceal this from people. Let me hide exactly what's going on in my life." And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to run from what was going on. On top of that, I got to work Tuesday. I brought my staff together because I'm like, obviously I'm a leader in an organization. I'm a battalion commander, and I'm a lieutenant colonel, officer in charge over some people, and I'm responsible for standards. And I understand that was without I was outside of the standard with my conduct. I didn't cross the threshold of breaking the law to be charged for anything, so there's nothing on my record. I don't have a restraining order against me. I don't have any court pending case. I'm not due in court to plead not guilty or anything. None of that exists. None of that. I didn't cross a threshold to get to that point. But I did cross a threshold of, it's not acceptable for how I behaved, especially as a leader, in the organization, in the community, and in my family. So I don't want to neglect that. The fact that I didn't go to jail and didn't have to go to court, that means what I did was okay. That's not what I'm saying. Um, so I brought the staff together, and I let them know I made some poor decisions along the way. But even in those poor decisions, I didn't try to hide it you know. Um, and I'm going to go even deeper in that. I share with them how I lost my temper and how I smashed the TV and how I smashed some pictures and how I said some very hurtful words um, to my wife. And a lot of people mindset, and they come and they think like, why would you share that? People might have a different opinion of you by product of you sharing and you being this transparent, you being this open. I'm putting it on YouTube. I'm not trying to hide it or conceal it from those who work with me. I'm owning that. So a lot of people could say they can use that against me, you know, and I would say that's not the case, because if I had hidden it and then it became revealed later, or someone got it out in the rumor mill, then that is how destruction happened and lack of trust. Like, I was authentic, and I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to go into anger management counseling and response management and getting into my mind a little deeper. So I did call a few counselors and surveyed across and see which one I can do. And I came up with this counselor that does a lot of anger management work and response management. She does separation anxiety, divorce counseling, and preparing you for a transition. So I'm going to dive into that a little more. So what I did, I used myself as an example to my staff. I gave them resources. I says, you know what? I'm giving you an example of how I knew better and I still responded wrong. Like, I knew that what I was getting into, and that's why part of the reason I called on my way home, and after I heard some news that was disturbing, I knew it was going to be a potential for me to really flip. I did call my life coach, who's also a pastor, and he showed up there at the house too, because I wanted the third party there. So there were a lot of elements, even in the midst of my mind racing and being disturbed, that I did right. So I wanted to highlight with my staff and with the chief of staff and the general some things that I did right, but I was also own the things that I did wrong. I didn't want to sweep under the rug and say, hey, it was just an incident. It's never going to happen again, and God's grace is never going to happen again. I am on this road for Operation Restoration. So this arrested development thing that's happening right now, um, it's a part of my process. It's a part of my growth. Um, So what I did, I shared with them some resources of how to go get a counselor, because I use myself as an example. I says, if it happens to me, I know that someone in this room is struggling with something that's equally as damaging or disturbing to them as what I'm struggling with. So here's some resources you can use. And then I hit them with the difference between a smart person and a wise person is that a smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person learns from other people's mistakes. So I says, now that I have fallen and stepped on my dog tag, so to speak, or tripped up, um, my expectation is that you learn from what I just went through. So the expectation is that you get the help now before the event happens. Like, if you're struggling with something and it's bothering you, let's get you some help now. And that's what I'm doing. So part of my self-help journey, I'm going to go into this thing called Self-Love Saturdays. So my counseling sessions will be Saturday mornings, and I'll go into that, and then Saturday dive into some exercises, some response management, and learning how to grow. Like, in this process, while I was running today, I realized, like, I'm gonna give you an analogy, and it's not that I'm comparing myself to this individual, although I am great, but MAGA, make Andrew great again. That is a real thing. I am gonna be great again, but I feel like Michael Jordan in the 10th grade when he got cut. Like, I feel like that's where I'm at in my life right now. It's like there's greatness within me right now. There's greatness, things that's happening in me. I got talent. I'm that guy that, you know, I have confidence in myself. I know I got the skill and ability within me to be great. But however, the people around me don't recognize it quite that way yet. So they want to cut me from the team and don't really understand that I'm one of the greatest of all time. Like, and I'm not saying that from an arrogant point of view, although it may sound that way. But the reality of it is like the stage that I'm at in this Michael Jordan phase of my life is like I'm doing shit to get cut. So in this season, in between where I'm at now and to where my next season is, I gotta do exactly like Michael Jordan did. He did it physically, but I gotta do it mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. I gotta grow. Like Michael grew like 6 inches from his sophomore year um, to his junior year, and I realize now I gotta grow too. And now I'm done growing. I'm 45. I'm not gonna grow 6 inches, but I tell you what, I will grow in wisdom. I will grow in understanding. I will grow in my application of how to respond appropriately and professionally to things that are less than desirable. So from this season to next season, there's a growth that's got to happen in order for me to manifest the greatness that I have. Um, I'm still that same guy, but what Michael Jordan did, he internalized. Not only did he grow, but then his work ethic. He had to work as though he would get cut again, meaning that he was one of the hardest workers there was. Was nobody going to be better than him? So, um, and that's where I feel like for me to be this hurt and for me to be this distraught after 25 years of marriage, I'm not ignorant to the fact that she's not hurt just as much as not worth for some of the shit that I did. I'm just feeling some shit that she has been feeling. Um, so the reality of it is, it's like I need to grow and I need to work to a point where um, I'm the hardest worker there is, and that I'm yielding results. Like even when Michael Jordan became great, there were times around him where he was the scoring champion and his greatness was only for him. But it wasn't until later he evolved that he made people around him great as well, and he led a team to a championship by not only his greatness but improving those around him. So during this phase right now, there's a lot of isolation with me. I'm often in my own space and need to redefine how I'm going to navigate in this space to make sure that I don't get into destructive patterns, because this is the time right now that will happen. And this is, um, at least for me, I know my vices. If I were to go out right now to a bar, I'm going to meet a young lady there and we're going to have awesome conversation and it'll get off into a bad distraction. But that's just the trick of the enemy, because they understand that is a weakness that I have. Like when I get rejected, to seek acceptance from somewhere else. So it's false acceptance, though. Um, so if I were to go out and try to say, well, she's out doing her thing, let me go do mine. Right now, it'd be the easiest time for me to do that. But what I want to do is being intentional about my growth, because I'm capable of falling. But the thing about it, I want to be mature enough not to. Although I'm capable and willing to do it at times, there's an element of me that needs to mature and get through this, because the bottom line of this, it goes back to that root cause of rejection again and needing validation. It's like convincing myself that I am enough. Like I am enough, and there's no doubt in my mind that I got value and good attributes as a man. Have I made mistakes? Yeah, a lot of them, more than I care to share. But it's the number of mistakes um, are plentiful, but my values exceeds that. I understand that I'm greater than the mistakes that I made. So I'm getting to a place in my life where now I need to do the hard work. I don't need to go tit for tat. I need to dive in and to become better. Like it's time to grow. It's time to work. So I will start my counseling this weekend to go into that, and I'm going to take you all through that journey with me. So, if you're looking for perfection or you're looking for somebody who got it all right, then you're probably in the wrong place. But if you're looking for someone to be authentic and tell you how they feel, even though how they feel may be wrong at the time, and I will come back and I will adjust it. But if you're looking for the authentic version of navigating through accomplishing goals, this is going to be an interesting journey that I'm going to invite you on. So it's going to be some switching up. The running in the evening and working out, I think I'm going to have to do something because my evenings get lonely. I'll be honest. So I don't want to turn that loneliness into a destructive pattern. So we'll probably start kicking up some things in the evening and getting videos as I start to increase my readings and getting into various different things. And I'll start to increase my writings and go into different places that's productive. So when these things happen to you, because I'm not on the island, I'm not the only person that's going through some hard shit right now. You're going through it too, and how we respond in this time will return and determine: are we going to be kings? Or are we going to be peasants? Um, and we need to be act like royalty to get our king's ransom. So there's an element of me that needs to mature. There's an element of me that needs to be developed. There's an element of me that is crying for validation and just wants to be validated. And I got to eradicate that. I got to get to a point where um, I don't need it, like where I'm enough. The doctor that I'm going to send, she had a quote on her website, and that's what kind of drew me to her website. Um, and the quote was this: "He who looks without dreams. He who looks within awakens." So um, I don't know, for those who may not have been following, but a few months ago when I prayed on the video, I said there's a great awakening that's going to happen in my life. And I don't believe that it's an accident that now I'm going through the point of where I'm at now. There's an awakening. Like, my life has been built about dreaming and pursuing goals and chasing things, chasing degrees, bachelor's, master's, chasing accomplishment, whether it be being a pilot, chasing promotions at work, trying to be lieutenant colonel, chasing assignments, and now becoming a battalion commander. I'm good at dreaming and pursuing and chasing things and pursuing, just going after things external to me. But this season right here, it's time for me to get really within and awaken, and to really start to assess myself so I can grow properly. So there is a great awakening that's happened. And although I wouldn't wish this position on my worst enemy or anyone, at the same time, I'm glad I'm here. Meaning that everything before this didn't break me to a point where I realized that I really needed to go deeper. Because I was still kind of doing a doggy paddle and thinking I'm treading water, keeping my head above water, and I'm thinking I'm okay, I'm not drowning. But it takes a catastrophic event for you to realize, hey, stop what you're doing, and we got to address some shit in your life. And that's where I'm at right now. It's like everything I've been up to this point was only surface. And I accomplished a lot going on the surface. But now it's time to go under. It's time to go under the knife. And, they got to put me out for this because if you dwell on the surface, you don't get to the depth and the root cause of things. Like the theory about an iceberg, and they talk about icebergs in our resiliency training. It's like an iceberg is massive, but you only can see a small portion of it above water. It's the stuff below the water that's really holding the foundation. It can either be blessing you or cursing you. And there's some things that I got to eradicate that's below the water. So what you see above the water, you all see a lieutenant colonel. You all see someone who was a pilot. You see the master's degree. You see that. And now with these videos, I'm showing you some shit that's under the water that's kind of embarrassing, that's hurtful, that's painful. But I got to do the work. I got to get down and eradicate some of these things because I got goals, I got dreams, and I want to be in a healthy relationship. I will be in a healthy relationship. And until I heal, I can't get there. Like, this has brought me to a period of brokenness. And I understand that hurt people hurt people. So the fact that I was hurt and still hurt, I'm capable of hurting other people. So what I need to do is heal and be whole, and then be whole with another as well. And that's a goal. Did I get punched in the face by this life event? Hell yeah. Does it suck? Yeah. Will I recover? I'll be all right. I'm going to get better. We're going to grow forward. So take this journey, or if you're not interested in it, tune off and catch the latter vision at the end. But the show got to continue. It will continue. And I will grow. We will go. And when we finish, you will know it was worth it. So, in closing, I love my wife regardless. I mean, I've done some fucked up shit to her and vice versa to me. She has to me. But the reality of it is, I don't know how to quit. So me quitting, I don't know. And it sounds stupid, but I tell you what, she will be the last thing I quit. I'm going to quit a lot of other shit before I quit chasing her. I'm going to quit having temper tantrums. I'm going to quit self-medicating on lust. I'm going to quit, just being over controlling. There's a lot of shit I need to quit. I used to tell my daughters growing up, I said, morons don't quit. The only thing you're allowed to quit are things you weren't supposed to begin in the first place. And there's some things I wasn't supposed to begin in the first place that my ass need to quit. And my promise to you on this video is that starts today. Like the temper, all these things that are destructive, it's time for me to quit those things and to start getting help and seeking help for those things. So I got to do some hard work. I got a long road ahead of me, and there's no guarantee for success with my wife. But even if my consequences is too great to recover, I still got to do the healing process because my end state is still a healthy relationship. And until I get healthy, there's no way that I can have a healthy relationship. So I got a long road ahead of me professionally, where I want to go and become among the elite, go to war college and become a general. I'm designed to restore what's broken in my marriage. That's my primary goal relationally, and restore and break the generational curse that I have tried to continue on in my life of brokenness, of not being man enough to just say no to your selfish desires. So there's a lot of growing that needs to happen, and it's not an overnight process. Like there's going to be some down times, there's going to be some hurt times, and there's going to be some times where I just sit and my mind wanders. So that's why I'm going to start working out in the evenings. So if you would do me a favor, I'm going to do this self-love thing, and I don't know who's going to watch this video to the end. I really need your assistance on this journey if you're willing to join me. Put something down in the comments that you would recommend that are non-destructive activities that I could do to keep my mind occupied. Like, I'm going to go through therapy on Saturdays. My plan is to maybe take myself out to dinner to a 4 or 5 star restaurant, start treating myself well. I'm going to continue to work out and get in shape. But if you got a restaurant that I should be going to and trying just to experience something, if you got a cologne or something that you want me to go look at or whatever it may be, if there's a store, if there's a place or a workout that you want me to do to try, put that down in the comments, and we can start this journey of productive distractions, meaning that, yeah, I'm going to do the reading. I'm going to get into some other things as far as working out, but there's an element of me where I still got to have that self-love and activity. Because although this is a big house, and maybe I'll do a tour since I'll be here, 4,000 square feet in here, and it's just me. So maybe I'll start doing videos in different rooms and give you a tour. But I've been going through so much this last week that I got to start washing clothes and cleaning. I got plates on my counter, and I ain't let Cliff back over here for his ladder. Now all of a sudden I got stuff on my counter. So whatever, but I'll get it clean, and we'll do that. But in the comment section below, regardless of who you are, just drop, say, hey, try this restaurant, try this. This is my activities are going to be male only activities. So this not for me to go out and meet and be distracted by another young lady or whatever. It's things that I can do to be healthy and whole and entertain myself. So drop it in the comments below. Y'all be good, young kings. I'll be back on this and we'll get through this together. Y'all be blessed.